Welcome to Surfside Stories. I am so fortunate today to have a longtime friend of mine here in the studio with me from Too Much Sylvia, Mr. Rick Lee. Rick and I do have a history, and it's been a fantastic history.
Yeah.
Rick also has one of the most fantastic bands in beach music today. Rick, thank you for coming in, brother.
My
Glad
pleasure.
to have you here.
Thank you, Wayne.
Now, everybody knows who you are now. They know Too Much Sylvia. They know Rick Lee. But what we want to know, me and your fans, how did you get into beach music? When did you start? About what age? And give me a little history as you came up to the music industry, and especially how you got into the beach music world.
Oh, well,
It's a good, long question.
you know what? I've been a blessed man from the day I was born. You know, we both grew up in Concord, North Carolina.
Yes, we did.
And back then, we got most of our entertainment. It was on the radio, but we never could see the artist except on Sunday night on the Ed Sullivan Show.
Amen.
And Jerry Lee Lewis was on Ed Sullivan one night. And I saw him do that glissando down the piano and hit that final chord, and a big old ball of fire came out of the piano. I said, Mama, I want a piano. That's kind of where things started for me. But yeah.
Great story. I love that.
Oh, yeah. You know, we've all got stories about how we started and where we got started. And you and I were talking a few minutes ago. She immediately got me started piano lessons right down the street from where you were taking on Edgewood Avenue.
Yes, okay.
I was taking a couple doors down from where you were, and a lady named Miss Carden was trying to teach these fingers how to play.
And she did a great job with it.
Well, she did a great job for 3 years, and then I decided I wanted to be a baseball, football player. And that was short-lived because the Beatles came out short-lived. And when the Beatles came out, that changed so many of our lives.
First time you saw them was where?
Again, the Ed Sullivan Show.
Amen.
Sitting around there, and next thing I know, I gotta have a guitar. So, you need to learn how to play that piano first. I said, yeah, you're right. Good times to grow up. Some great music we grew up with, Wayne.
Oh, yes, we did. Now, did you ever learn to play the guitar?
You know what I did? I took some lessons in Concord from Ned Mullis
Oh, yes, remember him?
up there on Church Street.
Yes.
And we took for a few years, and that's when we started putting the bands together. You know, everybody had guitars back then. But my guitar playing was kind of short-lived because all the bands, the guys we were playing with, nobody had a keyboard player. So I could play keyboard. So just I kind of went back to the organ, and organ is what it was back then. You know, the little portable organs.
Oh, yes. We didn't have the digital or even the analog keyboards yet then.
Yeah. You can carry a piano around, and it's just a great time to grow up, Wayne.
Oh, it was. It was. So where'd you go from there? Once you played a little bit of guitar.
Played a little guitar.
But you had basically got into that. Now, was it a local high school band or what that you were?
Yeah, a couple of guys in Concord. I got hooked up with Richard Church's son first, Dickie Church.
Oh, you got Richard policeman?
Yeah.
He looked after the high school?
That's right. We wound up playing a little group called the Silver Tones, and then from there I started meeting some guys up in the Wilmar section that went to Beverly Hills School up there, and we put together a group called the Phantom Raiders, and do not try to find this album. But we did record an album in 64, I believe, 3 or 4. And it's, yeah.
This great. Anybody that finds that album, bring it to me, and you will be doing a podcast all about that album.
So I'm looking at the internet a few years ago, and somebody had made CDs of our album. So I went on there and I found out where the album were, everyone I could find, so I could throw them away. But yeah, it was a good time. The Phantom Raiders. That went up to Doug and the Soul Review, where we actually added horns. And one of the reasons for that was, you understand, in the early '60s, I was only exposed to the Beatles and things like that, rock music. A guy that you may know, Zeb Williams. Did you ever know Zeb?
I remember that.
Zeb Williams. We moved down to the other end of town on Fink Street, lower end of Fink Street. And Zeb said, "Man, you need to start learning some Maurice Williams in the 70s." He turned me on to that was my initiation to beach music.
Yeah.
And so, because I can sing that. And he starts singing falsetto and stuff. So with the horn band, we were able to jump into some of those kind of songs. And I think it all lasted through high school days.
Wow. That's amazing.
At Concord High, where you went to school too.
Yes, good. Yeah, that wasn't far behind me either.
Yeah, but you know, see, here, let me tell you guys this. I lived across the street on Church Street, across from Wayne's family's car lot. And I've told Wayne this story 100 times. But we got this front porch. We're sitting out on the front porch every night, and they got this gigantic neon sign. Troutmn's cars, man. And I see Wayne bobbing around over there all the time. But this neon sign, it was constantly going. It was buzzing all the time. Automatically, y'all had it set to cut off at 10:30. So when that buzzing stopped, Mama said, "Time for you to go to bed."
So if you should have called me, I could say a little bit later.
Oh, wow. We didn't know you then. See, you were older than me. You were running around. You were getting all the back then.
You're great.
Good times.
So let's go back to Zeb. Now, how long will you stay with them?
We have a solo review through my junior year, and we did an audition with Attractions in Charlotte. We took the big booking days. And as juniors, sophomores and juniors in high school, we're playing every Friday and Saturday night.
How far do you have to travel back?
They throw us all the way up to Roanoke, Virginia. That was a road trip, yeah. We're doing proms and all the high school parties. It's fun. But that's where we got our feet wet.
So you stayed with them about how long, maybe?
Yeah, I think it broke up when all the guys got in high school. They were a little bit younger than me, and they were playing football and didn't have the time to practice down. So after that, I got hooked up with some guys. Earl Dawkins, who I'm sure you'll speak with.
Oh, yes.
He was with a band of Indianapolis called the Acolytes. And so was my best friend and one of the greatest musicians I've ever had a chance to work with, Greg Kagan.
Okay.
And Greg got into Acolytes, and along with his sister, which you'll probably know, Maria Kagan.
Yes. Okay.
Maria's going to sing. And when Earl left to go with Rivieras, they got me and a couple other guys. We did the Acolytes thing for a while. I had to leave the Acolytes because they wanted to bring their old keyboard player back in, who had a big old B3 organ.
Oh, okay.
I didn't have a B3. And I was a little upset with that. But the manager of the band, whose name was Troutmn, he said, "We want you to be the front man." He said, "I'm going to make you the next Earl Dawkins."
Oh, good. Make you the next.
Well, the keyboards. I'll see you later.
The question was, Mike Brown was with them at the time?
I think Mike was with the Acolytes, but we're out
At one point, yeah.
Mike Brown was a year later, in early '71. The Rivieras were doing well, and Earl would come in, I think, basically replaced Bob Meyer,
Yes, okay.
who recorded Behold, great song, great features song of this thing. And Earl's in the band along with Mike Brown,
Yeah.
and Greg Cable and Sonny Joyner, and they did an audition, and their keyboard player was leaving, so they hired me to take the place. I think, there again, I think one of the main reasons I got that gig is because I finally got a hand in the organ.
You did?
Because I was a great player.
So went from them, you went to the Riviera?
Rivieras.
Now, gosh, I didn't know you were with them. I
Very
thought I knew you well.
Well, it was very short-lived because they, at that time, they were wanting to make a change from playing what we call beach music now.
Yeah.
They wanted to make a change to go into some rock and roll, Allman Brothers and Buddy Miles and things like that.
Good, yeah.
So I was there for probably 2-3 months, then we changed the name to Sugar Creek.
Okay, so you're telling me same group of people that were in the early Rivieras became Sugar Creek?
It was the latter part of the Riviera.
Yeah, a lot of part of them, yeah.
When I got in there, the
Early part of the 70s.
it was, early 70s. And we changed the name to Sugar Creek. And the first gig we played was at Jerry's Lounge in Canal.
Well, I can understand that.
Yeah.
He helped all the local people, didn't
Yeah.
he? He was big in supporting the local band.
Yes, he was.
And that meant a lot to a lot of you guys, I would imagine.
Oh, we loved it. And then it gave, we'd practice a couple of weeks learning, listen, understand back then, all the brothers knew, but that was another enlightening experience for all of us. We wanted to learn to play that. Bobby Donaldson on guitar, he could play it, he could shred it. Earl Dawkins, Earl Dawkins went back to the drums. Instead of being the singer, the lead singer, front man, Earl was playing drums, and they brought in a guy named Ronnie Sneed, who had, the rock and roll look and the gruff voice, and he got sing.
Earl played drum.
Yeah, Earl played. And Earl speak drum.
Good to know. Next time I see him on stage, I'll see if I can get him to do one song on the drums.
Good. I don't know if he was a good drum.
Oh, that's good. But now you were doing keyboard then.
Yeah.
You transition from Riviera into Sugar Creek. Okay, tell me that line. Sugar Creek's got quite a story. I want to hear this.
Well,
Get into the end of Sugar Creek. Okay, don't leave anything out.
I got a lot out my
Okay.
71 is when it started, and we had the rock band, and even in early 71, it was hard for the band to work like it wanted to work. Toward the end of summer, some guys got left. Mike Brown actually left. Earl stuck around for a while, and we kind of drifted back to the beach music side. There again, it wasn't called beach music necessarily back then. So we had another group of guys, had a good scoring section. That group went through some changes, and I heard you speaking with Gary Louder. Gary was talking about the Hot Smoking Brass getting hooked up with Jackie Wilson.
Yeah.
When they left Jackie Wilson, I'm not sure what happened. They were hot too. I mean, Jackie had been for 2 years, and they were kicking. But we got to get. Okay, so we went on tour with Jackie for maybe 2 months. Got to travel a lot. And I'll tell you this is one of my favorite stories. I was not very good at music, but I loved it. I wanted to be a part of it. And we had some players in the band. We hired some players who were graduates of East Carolina. They could play. The band was really good. And Jackie had a bass player. His name was Bill Robinson, played 6-string bass. He rehearsed us. We took it out. And Jackie would give all the guys in the band a solo each night. I never got a solo. For 3 or 4 weeks, we went out to Dallas, Texas. And we're playing out there. And Jackie looked over at me one night. He said, "Take one, Rick." And you can imagine my heart's going on. Jackie's giving me a solo. This is my first one with the band. And Bill Robbins, the bass player's over there going, "No, Jackie. No, Jackie. No, he's giving it. No, Jackie." And he turned around at Bill and he said, "I said, take one, Rick." So I jumped in there. I pushed the pedal on that organ down to the floor and started playing, turned on that list and played. And I finished the first verse and he said, "Take another." And I took 2 solos. Everybody stood up and played. And that right there, that gave me so much confidence that, yes, I can do this.
That is awesome. Love that story. It does mean a lot when people really, especially whenever you've been where you were and you didn't, you weren't sure if they had the confidence in you. And all of a sudden, they give you a chance. And I love the fact that you took big advantage of it.
Jackie Wilson, besides the fact that, what a singer.
Oh, yes.
What a great singer.
A lot of great songs.
But he will never know what he gave to me.
That's a good, so now we know that you can do solos.
Well,
Where do we go from there?
Sugar Creek went through the changes, of course. We had a really good horn band that did that for a while, but late 70s, we kept losing, every time we get a good horn section together, Bill Dillon or Ron Bills would come down and say, "Oh, hey man, we can give you $10 more a week, and you can play Virginia Beach all summer." So I was so frustrated with having to change members. I like to get with a group of guys that are not only they not only want to play together, but they're friends and try to make something go from there. So I said, let's just play rock and roll. So in '79, we moved toward the rock and roll thing. In 81, we ran across a guy from Asheville, North Carolina named Jerry West.
I think I know him.
I think you do. Jerry,
But when you made the switch, let me clarify. What did you go from the beach music type? What kind of rock? Hard, soft?
no, back then it was, it was like Pablo Cruz and we hadn't started into the Journey and all the Loverboy stuff yet. They hadn't quite came out.
Okay,
So it was a gradual top 40 kind of rock thing.
gotcha. Okay,
But
good.
one of the things that really appealed to me, you remember FM radio wasn't out
Yes,
until, early 70s or late 60s. But that sound, you remember how much better the sound was on
oh yeah,
FM radio?
absolutely.
And I think the rock bands were taking advantage in the studio of that sound. So that sound just really appealed to me. It just sounded good with a nice, guitar that was kicking.
Speaking of radio, did you listen to Big Waves all the time?
We lived in Concord, didn't
Okay, occasionally at night I'd go over to WLS in Chicago when I could pick it up. That's where I heard the new song before they made it to Big Waves.
we? Well, we had transistor radio back then.
Yes.
If you're like me, you'd take it, your mom would say, go to bed. I'm like, okay, and I'd have it under my pillow. When she leave the room, I'd turn it on. And at WLS.
Yes, absolutely love that station.
See, Wayne, there again. We grew up with the best music ever.
Yes, sir. Maybe that's why we love it so much. Maybe that's it. Okay, let's get back to Sugar Creek has made the transition into rock.
Yeah.
Or top 40.
Yeah. We got Jerry, and we actually hired Jerry to be a second guitarist and sing lead. He was a kid, 18, 19 years old.
I've got him scheduled to come in too.
Oh, yeah, well, that'll be a great interview. And Jerry came in, and we started working with him, and but his voice kept going out because he was young and it was changing, and we were playing every night, and he couldn't hold up. So our manager found this guy in Kentucky, and wanted us to bring him in for an audition. A guy that you may know by the name of Tim Clark. So
I remember Tim telling me the story about you picking him up at the airport. I remember it well. He didn't have a car and didn't have any credit. He was 20 years old at the time, I think.
Yeah.
So he came straight to me and we put him in his first car. Remember that?
That's right.
We put him in his first car.
Exactly right. That's exactly right. Yeah, so that was, and there again, it was good times. Everybody was living in Concord and we were practicing a lot. And the band got off the ground real quick. And of course, we were playing the pavilion every summer anyway, but they really latched onto it. We were perfect for that market in the times, playing for 2,000 kids every night at the pavilion down at Myrtle Beach. And Jerry and Tim, well, we're rock stars now. Hold on there, boys, because I want to show you something. And what do we do after the show? So after we play, we'd get together one night a week. We'd all decide we were going to get together and go hear somebody. And I would take them down to the landmark.
Okay.
Hear the different beach music bands. I said, understand now. Here's where this stuff comes from. You're going to run across these people again. And we'd go down there and hear Catalina's was one of our favorites. And of course, Emerson and Oz and Fantastic Shakers starting to get started. And,
They were good. A lot of those also we saw down at the Holiday Inn down on Woodlawn.
that's right.
And a few years later, they became a large place. And them and the Landmark were playing really great beach music. That's super.
Yeah.
Well, now, how long did you stay into the rock era? And what year did you go to television? Tell me about the TV show.
Well, we were on Star Search the second season, and that would have been 84, 85. And we won a couple. We won enough to get to the semifinals. And we got beat in the semifinals by a band, again, back to Gary Lauer, from Minneapolis. All those Minneapolis bands were hot because of the Prince thing back then.
Yes.
And they played it up. And we'd kind of changed our look a little bit, but we didn't come in first that year. But
you were right. You made it right up to the final.
You know what? We had a great time in California. We're the band that beat us called Limited Warranty. I tell you, that's So we're all sitting in the comedy club the night before we faced them on the show, and we're all cutting up having a good comedy. And in walks Eddie Murray, and it was crazy.
Yeah.
So so I'm going, hey man, after this, I said, let's go down to the Troubadour. And the guy said, oh no man, I got to go upstairs and study. I've got an exam when I get back. I'm going, wait a minute. We're in LA. We need to rock. So these kids, they were 5, 6 years younger than us. They were in college, and they beat us the next day. Maybe we shouldn't have went out.
Oh, but that's great to be able to get out to an environment like that.
So we had a great time. And that lasted till Wayne. I think Tim and Jerry left in '89, and we broke the band up in '90.
Well, now, one of the songs I remember the very most, y'all had a lot of songs I like, but Storm the Gates was one of my favorite songs that you ever recorded. Now, did you write that one, or where did you find it?
Jerry wrote that. And
Jerry West wrote that?
And we had changed the name of the band at that point. We dropped the sugar. We went sugar-free.
Sugar-free, the Creek. I remember the transition.
and we were the Creek, and we were trying to, we were really trying to, it's a good band. We had made a couple of changes, and the band was really good. Jerry came up with this song, Storm the Gate, and Jerry writes some really good songs. He always has.
Love to write.
Yeah, and
but don't talk about writing, because I'm sitting beside the best absolute writer in beach music.
Where is he?
You write some of the best songs. Man, and you set the bar very high for what people need to achieve. And I love that, and I appreciate it. But you've got great songs. And Jukebox playing 45s right now. One of the hottest songs out there. I love it. Love it.
Yeah, we've been very blessed. You can't do it if you don't work with good people, and I'm surrounded by them. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So at that point, you're starting to break up. Now, I notice looking around the beach music world, I see you transitioned over. Jerry West transitioned over to beach music. Tim Clark transitioned over. And Robbie Hegler transitioned over. See all these guys down here. How did that transpire?
Well, when the Sugar Creek, the creek had run its course in '90, understand at that time, that's when the good rock and roll, what we call the good rock and roll, not necessarily the real heavy stuff, but the good rock and roll was phasing out. Rap started.
Yeah.
And the rap was taking over everything. Everything. It was a tough time for all the musicians. I wasn't planning on going back out playing, but I'd taken a job. My daughter had just been born, Abby.
Yeah,
She was born in '90. I'd taken a job at Reliable Music in Charlotte, and I was just not making enough money. So I said, well, let's put a band together. And we started putting a band together with Chris Jennings, who's now with the Band of Oz, and of course Steve Long and Lee Kelly, our drummer, who you know that family, Kelly Osborne.
Oh yeah, very well.
Lee's now playing with Hank Williams Jr.
And you Lee very well. I know about Lee very
Yeah. But we wanted to come out and take up where Sugar Creek left off. It wasn't going to happen. We tried it for 6 months. Chris wound up leaving, and that's when Eddie jumped in, Eddie and Howie. And I said, boys, let's go back to the beginning and have some fun. Let's just play songs that we've played 100 times, 1,000 times, that people want to hear, and make it fun for the crowd. And we did. It didn't matter what song one of the guys would bring in, as long as that song would go over and people liked it, we played it.
Wow. Okay.
It just changed our whole outlook. And fortunately, we've kept that vision.
Well, you remember a time whenever remember Brumley Avenue right next to Edgewood?
Yes.
Down the bottom of the hill, the house down there, and Jerry West was staying with Chris Jennings. And I think the third, if I remember, was Jody Bundy.
Oh.
They were staying together. Now, I've heard some stories out of that group that would have burned Concord down to the ground.
We'll be on this podcast last year.
Anyway, go ahead. Let's get back to where you're making that transition. Let's go with it.
Yeah, we're making the transition. And the whole idea was we wanted to play 2 or 3 times a month to have fun, and one thing led to another.
How'd that work out?
Great.
2 or 3 times a month.
Yeah, well, we started playing, and we got hooked up with East Coast Entertainment, and you know how it grows. Things start getting, well, you can do this. Come on, talk the guys into doing it. Well, we're all working other jobs at the time, so we wanted, and families. We're raising families. Eddie's son was born, and we just wanted to do things differently with this band, and it kept growing. And as we got older, we started getting a little more serious about it. Dave Fisher, who's the manager of Sugar Creek,
Yeah.
he actually gave us some great ideas about putting together the Too Much Sylvia thing. About he could just see things. He was one of the instrumentalists in helping us put it together and what to do and how to get it out there and get it started. Andy Smith was a good friend of mine. Andy's passed away, and Andy and I always stayed in touch, and we had a lot of fun together. We'd go out and drink a beer and do some things. And Andy was the first manager for Jim Quick.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
He actually managed Jim 3 different times, and but Andy and I were real close. And I'm scattered now, but Andy and I were working together at East Coast Entertainment, and Andy was leaving. He said, "Let's leave and start another company." Well, I had a non-compete and couldn't at the time, but Andy went ahead and started Green Dot, which turned into the record company that we have now.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And a year later, I kind of went in with him. It was the time in 2008 when everything was falling apart.
Yeah.
So all our private parties that we had been doing, we had done 450 wedding receptions. We were thinking about changing the name of the band to the Wedding Band. But so it was changing. We kind of thought, well, you know what, we're getting a little old too. Let's start trying to do some after fives and festivals.
Speaking of the name of the band,
The Too Much Sylvia?
everybody wants to hear that story. Some have heard it, some would love to hear it. But let's let them all have it today.
You want the R version, or you want the PG version?
Hey, we're on podcast. You give me the real version.
Steve and Eddie and myself, we played and of course Don wasn't in the band yet, but Lynn Samples and Lee Kelly played drums with us. We were all in different bands in the 80s. You know, we had Sugar Creek. Eddie was in Shakers for a while. Eddie was actually in Sugar Creek, in the early version of Sugar Creek, by the way.
Okay.
But there was this girl down at Myrtle Beach, and she liked me. I liked her.
What was her name?
Her name was Sylvia. And we'd hang out, we'd come down there, and so the next band would come in. So we're putting together Too Much Sylvia, and didn't realize we started talking about people we know, and well, we all knew Sylvia. Well, wait a minute, she was my girlfriend. Well, I remember playing down at Myrtle Beach when she was my girlfriend. Well, 3 of us knew Sylvia, and we never knew each other knew her, because our bands were not in town at the same time. So Steve come up with this thing. Why don't we just call the band Too Much Sylvia? I've never named a band I was in, so I said, that's it, let's go.
Hey, and it's caught on, and everybody loves the name. And like I said, a few people know the story, but many of them are going to love hearing it today. And by the way, just so you know, whenever I first met Steve Long, he had hair.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did. Y'all were playing down next to the old courthouse in Concord.
That's right.
And you just started doing a show, and I met Steve, and said, wow, this same Steve Long, he has hair now.
Well, about that same time, Steve went on a cruise with his wife, and when he come back, he'd shaved his head. Steve was a big boy.
Yeah.
He lost 50 pounds.
I was going to say 40. Yeah.
And it just totally changed. When Steve lost that weight and shaved his head, with his voice, he started singing different. I don't know what it is. People were looking at him different. He's a nice looking guy, and he's got a great voice.
Oh, First time I saw him after that transition, I was almost wondering, is this the same Steve Long? Or did they get another singer with the same name?
Well, I shouldn't say this, but people would come up to me and say, man, is Steve okay? I said, yeah, he's doing just fine. I said, without AIDS kicking in. Which is not funny, but at the same time,
Oh,
Steve kind of discouraged me from that. But at the time, we had a humor in it. But since he changed, when he changed, I mean, the band changed.
well,
The band changed.
he did a great job. I'm gonna tell you, you guys are wonderful. We're coming up on the end of our podcast.
We're talking.
It flies by whenever you're having fun and a good
I'm
conversation.
sorry I talked so much.
No, you did what I asked you to come here and do. And people are going to love listening to you and their stories. And everyone, we are so lucky today to have my good friend Rick Lee in here. I feel honored, and I feel honored to even know this guy and know the band Too Much Sylvia. Now, how wonderful they are. Come back, see us next week on Surfside Stories, and we'll have more stories for you then.
Thank you.